good afternoon. Welcome to this roundtable that we have. I know there are a lot of roundtables, but it was supposed to be a single roundtable, but this is good enough as well. My name is Shalini. I'm a regional sales director at Mulesoft. Mulesoft is a part of SalesForce, and today we wanted to discuss, as an open forum, how integration or how middleware is now becoming more and more important. But also we wanted to hear from all of you what your experience is, what you're seeing as trends, what is your own internal situation, which can give us some insight into what you're all thinking as esteemed people who are running your organizations, right? So today's session, we're just going to break it into a few parts. For those who are not too familiar with what an integration challenge could actually be, we'll spend just about 5 minutes explaining what the challenges are. If that resonates with you, we would love to hear from you what you guys are seeing in your own businesses, in your own infrastructure. And then we'll possibly do a quick 5-minute wrap-up of our discussions and head for lunch, right? So that's the agenda. But again, thank you all for making the time to come here, be a part of this event, and give us your valuable insights. I look forward to having a very interactive session, and your inputs are always welcome. Yeah. Having said that, I want to introduce Harpreet. Harpreet is a solutions engineer. He'll talk your language, knows a lot of technology, heads our solution engineering team, and he will just tell us about what the basic challenges that we are seeing commonly in most companies when we talk to them. Yeah. Over to you, Harpreet.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shalini. First of all, thank you everyone for making it here. And this is going to be a very, very brief presentation, right? So I don't want to take more than 10 minutes. We want to hear from you. And that's the whole agenda. But we thought we would set some context, right? I'm sure a lot of you are already well initiated into the whole integration aspect, the middleware, the iPaaS, the API management, and things like that. But some of you might not be, right? So we'll just set the context here. First of all, a forward-looking statement, typical, very traditional from Salesforce. Whenever you see a Salesforce presentation, you will see this there. Basically means that your decisions, your purchase decisions should be based upon, the products which are available today and now, because there might be some products which are in roadmap as yet. However, for the context, whatever I present to you, it's all available GA now. Customary thank you from our side. Normally, you will see thank you slides at the end of the presentation. We do it at the start, right? So we want to thank all of you here. Let me get started, right? The theme of this conference is AI, right? So we can't go without AI, can we? So if you look at it today, right, we are at an inflection point with respect to AI. Everyone's talking about Gen AI, how it's going to impact your professional lives, personal lives, all that stuff. But if you look at it, it's sort of been like a journey. Organizations, it all started with the introduction of SaaS platforms, right? Because in SaaS platforms, you had those SaaS platforms certainly available. And because of that, there was a migration to the cloud which started happening. Now, when you had the migration to cloud happening, you had an almost infinite amount of storage and server space which was available. So you had applications which started generating a huge amount of data. And when you had that huge amount of data to be generated, you had an explosion of that customer data. You wanted to have a lot of automation technologies sort of to come in and to make sure that data is automated, made available in the right place, and some insights are derived. Now, as organizations are struggling with all of this stuff, you suddenly have Gen AI, which sort of has been thrown in the midst. And what's happening is that a lot of organizations want to do Gen AI projects, but they're still struggling to keep pace with all the developments which have happened in the last decade or so, right? Not everyone is on SaaS, not everyone has all the automation technologies in place. In fact, 86% of IT leaders, if you look at the chart, they expect Gen AI to play a significant role soon in their digital transformation. But just 2% expect no significant barriers, which means there are significant barriers out there, right? And what are these barriers out there, right? If you look at it today, right, and there's another factor out there. 62% of IT leaders have trouble keeping up with demands from the business. Like I said, right, a lot of technology has moved so fast that it's very difficult for organizations to keep pace with whatever has happened over the last decade. And Gen AI is evolving at a rapid pace, right? You had Gen AI, then you had co-pilots, and then we've already entered the agentic architecture, right? So it's evolving very fast. On the side, you can actually see that there are a lot of challenges still in a way. One of the challenges is that organizations still have very heterogeneous architectures. So you have more than 72. The typical applications space in organizations is around 900 applications. This is a global standard. In India, subcontinent, you might actually see a lower number of applications, but you still have a lot of applications and touch points. Over the last 3 or 4 months, the kind of system analysis we've done for some of our customers in manufacturing and banking, the number of IT integrations typically range from anywhere between 400 to 900 plus integration interfaces. That's a huge amount of integration interfaces out there, right? 72% of all of this is disconnected, right? So you definitely have a challenge which stands in your way. Now what happens is that Gen AI is only going to compound this integration or this connection challenge for you. Why do I say that? I say that because the world of AI is actually the world of APIs. If you look at today, you are introduced to a lot of large language models, and then there are micro language models and medium language models and small language models, and you have all the jargon out there, right? The idea is that you are going to have a lot of LLMs taking up a space within your organization. The more LLMs you have, the more vector databases you have, the more agents you have, the more co-pilots you have, the more APIs you're going to invariably have out of those applications as well. To do 2 things for you. First, to make sure that you're feeding the right data to all these AIs or Gen AI technologies. And second, to control the output which is coming from these Gen AI LLMs or vector databases. Because you need to have a control. Imagine you're using a chat GPT kind of an application, right? You don't know what kind of corporate, proprietary or confidential data feeds into that. And what sort of questions or queries customers are asking that could be disastrous, right? Because you could have a lot of confidential information actually going there. So you need to have controls over there. And how do you put controls in place? You will need to have APIs which are governed and managed. You will need to have integrations which are well defined for that matter, right? So Gen AI and AI is only going to compound the integration challenges within organizations. And you might have seen the latest Gartner report, right? If you want, I can point you out to that. But what they have noticed, and we've been talking about it for more than a year now, we see these 4 technologies sort of converging. What are these 4 technologies? These 4 technologies are primarily around automation. The first one is integration, the ability for systems to really talk to each other. It has been there for quite some time, but it has evolved over a period of time. The second one is API management. APIs are the de facto standard to actually connect and expose data from systems. So you need to have a secure API management and governance. So API management is the second bit. The third bit is automation, where you want to make sure that you're looking at a process not as just as an integration process, a human process, or a mundane bot-driven process, but as a continuum. Because you want to look at a process as a business process, not just as a technology process, right? Let's say, as an example, a lot of you are from the banking domain. So if you look at a lending process for that matter, a lending process would involve multiple aspects, right? It would involve people to take decisions. It would involve systems to be updated and external services to be called and data to be fetched from there, right? It would also call for some mundane activities to happen against maybe documents or documents to be read and data to be extracted using OCR and other technologies. So these are, I would say, fragmented bits and pieces. But as a process or as a business process, you would want to look at it as a continuum, right? And that's what we are seeing. We are seeing that all of these technologies are sort of going to converge. And within this whole thing, you will have artificial intelligence being thrown into the midst. So you have all of these 4 things coming together to converge and to solve business process related issues for customers. Now, I'm just flashing here some discussion points. And these are some discussion points on which we would actually want your inputs. Post the presentation I will do. So these are, let me read out, and I will have it flashed at the end of the presentation. First one is trends for a faster GTM, right? So we would want to understand, based on your experience, based on your industry, what do you see as trends for a faster go-to-market? Because we believe that our technology can help you go to market faster, but we want to understand from you. The second is, what is the industry relevance of integration and API management platforms and automation platforms from an open banking, that is from the banking side, and from an ERP and ERP migration from the manufacturing side, if some of you are from the manufacturing domain for that matter. The third aspect is P2P, which is point-to-point versus using an integration platform to really connect systems. We would want to understand your perspective on that. The relevance of an integrated platform, the value of reusability, about which I will speak about, and finally, what do you think? Is composable enterprise a fact or is it a fiction? Right? So we will have these flashed at the end of the presentation, but let me just get started to give you a view of what Mule does, so we can set some context out there, right? So in terms of Mule, these are the 4 key areas where we actually help organizations. Very simply put, the first one is integration. As the name suggests, it's all about connecting applications. So no matter where your applications are, whether they're on the cloud, on-prem, hybrid, we help you connect. We help you connect in whatever mechanism is available for those applications to connect. APIs, scheduled, batch, ETL, real-time, asynchronous, you name it, you have it. Okay, so that's the first time. The second one is automation. I spoke about it quite a little bit, but we have solutions which help you automate processes, whether it is human-driven processes or it is bot-driven processes, like extracting data from a document and then making use of that particular data for that matter. So that is the automation element. Third one is API management, right? Because APIs are the de facto standard for connecting applications, and you will have, and according to some survey, you have more than 50% of APIs within an organization are going to go unmanaged or ungoverned. So there has to be a mechanism to govern or manage these APIs. So governing, managing, applying policies, having governance around the entire thing, and visibility is what we do as part of API management. And finally, what we do is to make sure that you have the best of the solution, we are feeding in or we are baking in artificial intelligence into each one of these categories, right? So that you are able to build integrations or manage APIs much faster with the help of AI. The first one is integration, right? Now, traditional approaches we think are slow and costly. What is a traditional approach? A traditional approach is where you would do a point-to-point integration. Multiple applications at the base level, and you have experiences at the top, and what you actually want to do is you want to connect both of them, right? Now, how you do it is, typically, you acquire applications, and these applications come with their own little systemic APIs, which are the base APIs. So what you will do is, you will just connect these 2 applications. And when you're doing that, you will have to write a piece of code. You decide where you write that particular piece of code, in which application, but you will have to write that piece of code. Now, when you're connecting 2 applications, it's easy, but as soon as you start expanding over your entire spectrum, it becomes very messy out there. And you can see it in the architectural diagram, right? It becomes very messy, not only from building perspective, but also from managing, having observability around it, and having any kind of reusability. When you're building a point-to-point connection, you have no reusability at all. It becomes very difficult to manage the entire thing. Let's say you go and change one of the core applications. You'll have to redo the entire plumbing for that matter, right? So is there a better way to do this, right? And we say, and we advise that yes, there is. And we call it the modern composable enterprise with a reusable way of building integrations. What does it entail, right? What it entails is that you don't look at building integrations from one application to another point to point. But what you do is you build them as reusable Lego building blocks, okay, with the help of Mulesoft. So for example, what you will see on the screen is, you will see that we've divided the entire integration into 3 layers. A systemic layer, a process layer, and an experience layer. Why have we done it like this? So what we've done is that if you look at the bottom part, that layer is just responsible for unlocking your organization's applications and pulling data from there. That's it, nothing else. You will not write any other logic in that. The second layer is where you actually do the process orchestration. What does process orchestration mean? It means two things. First, you combine multiple applications and data from these multiple applications. One. Two, you are actually able to do the transformations. Because remember, every experience which wants to consume the data wants to consume in their own format. And every system application will give data in its own format. It could be XML, consumption could be JSON, as a simple example. So you need to do that transformation, right? You need to combine and aggregate data for that matter as well. The third thing is, you actually want to have orchestration logic written there. Because it's very rare that you will get a mobile application to just get data from an ERP or a core banking. The data needs to be combined. And the decisions also are across multiple applications. So you need to have orchestration. Where do you build the orchestration? That's the second layer, process layer. And the third is experience, all about consumption. Based upon experiences you have today, you want to introduce more experiences, you just go and create one more experience API out there. You bring together this entire thing. This is what we call a composable organization. And the reason we call it composable is because you can take any one of these building blocks and then recombine that without disturbing the entire network of integration you have. As opposed to a point-to-point where you will have to just rip out the entire thing and redo the entire thing for that matter. And this is an example of that. You have these three projects. First project, a customer mobile app. Requires you to build three APIs: operations, orders, finance API. Finance API connects to your backend ERP. Orders API is connecting into an ERP. Operations API maybe to a CRM. Combine together data and you're good with a customer mobile app. Works for you. The second one is an operations dashboard and legacy system access. An operations dashboard, you not only need these particular APIs, but also you will need data coming in from an order management system, for example, right? So you add one more API and you have a legacy system maybe, which doesn't have any APIs. So you need an RPA construct to go out and fetch data from the screen, on the screen. So you create those two assets. But what you're effectively doing is you're taking the initial three assets, building only incrementally, and then you have that project getting sufficed. You have the project 3, which is a B2B EDI partner portal experience. It could be anything, right? Again, reuse the initial 5, build 3, and you're good to go. The point I'm highlighting is that you don't have to build from scratch every incremental project, right? You build incrementally, and that's why with lesser number of resources, you are able to get more effective achievement for that matter. And there are some really big benefits out there in terms of productivity, in terms of uptime, in terms of faster project delivery time, because you have reusability at the heart of the entire thing. Okay. The second aspect I want to quickly cover is automation. And automation is all about processes. Like I said, it's about human processes, it's about systemic processes, it's about bot-centered processes. And here's an example. While the first one was from manufacturing, this one is actually more generic in nature. Right? And here is a typical process we have, which is a customer service process. And you will see that there are multiple stakeholders out there, right? You have service agents, you have a service manager, you have a backend engineer, you have a service manager again. So you really have an orchestrated process which needs to come together. But typically within organizations, what happens is it is actually fragmented. And yes, part of it you can solve it using an integration platform, but then who does the orchestration across these different stakeholders? That's where the process management, BPM or workflow actually comes into picture. And what we can do is that as Mule as a platform can come together and really automate the entire thing for you. So the human element, the decision element, the bot element, and the integration element together. Let me now talk about the third one, which is API management. And API management is what we understand is, and what we would want our customers and prospects to do is to really use the Mule platform to really build all their integrations and APIs, ideal world. We understand you already have a lot of APIs built using maybe any sort of technology, Node.js, Java, whatever, right? You cannot just go and just rip apart all of that and just bring something new, right? So you need something which is actually able to effectively even manage those APIs, because you need to manage them, you need to govern them, you need to have visibility, you need to have dashboards around that. That's where our universal API management solution actually helps, right? Because if you look at a fragmented API management sort of environment, you have these challenges. You have limited visibility, you have no governance out there, you have slower time to market, And then you have complex operations and troubleshooting, right? Because there's no visibility. In fact, I gave you that figure. 50% of all APIs will go unmanaged by 2025. So there is a very effective need for those APIs to be managed. And what management actually means is that it means that those APIs need to be discovered. Those APIs need to be cataloged. Those APIs need to be have policies applied on them. They need to be managed, and they need to be governed for that matter as well, right? And that's what we do as part of Universal API Management. And this is one of the case studies. I will just sort of stop here because there are a lot of, like I said, I just want to give you a very brief, right? I want to hear from you. But these are the discussion points on which actually we want your thoughts to understand whether this message resonates and has got value out there, and what your thoughts are, right? So I'll sort of pause here after that, like what's very, very speedy delivery, and have Shalini also come in and see if we can have your thoughts now to what makes sense. Please. I think he's raised his hand.
Hi, so I have joined a little bit late, so I missed your name. Harpreet, okay. So myself is Asif Ulbari. I am from Bragg Bank. I work in technology division, and I lead one of the technical department where we work on these security solutions, data center, and all these things. And we are a major part of all the projects going on currently. So for the first point that you have mentioned here, trends for a faster go-to-market. My first question to SalesForce is, when SalesForce is willing to work in Bangladesh? Because why I'm saying so, my chairman and my IT forum chairperson, those are two different persons. They're very much fascinated with the SalesForce because they have been in US since long. So our IT forum chairman is the senior vice president of East West Bank in US. So he's very much fascinated. He has used SalesForce, and we are currently working and designing the CRM, Customer Relationship Management Portal, that a solution that you were master of, right? So we would be very much willing to have you in Bangladesh as soon as possible, number one. For the go-to-market, Bragg Bank is thinking about, using those CRM and other things that you have shown, that there are fragmented solutions over there. If I say, from, generating the leads, and then the campaign management, CRM 360, and all these portals and modules. So the people who are serving to the customers, they need to be on the same page, and there must not be the fragmented solution, so that people get aligned from his colleagues. What happens? They are bothering customers, and in that case, that it takes time, and at that time it hampers the experience of the customer as well, and ultimately it impacts the go-to-market part as well. So what we expect and what we would like to hear from you, as at least 2-3 minutes, regarding the faster go-to-market suggestion for a market like Bangladesh, for the customers or for banking industry. Thank you so much.
Please.
What flight are you on? Tomorrow's flight? We are on the same flight. Yeah, no. No, jokes apart. So we do have a Bangladesh presence. We just don't have an office there as yet, right? But Ajmal, who's here, we have Salil. They're all based in KOLKATA, and they travel every week, literally, right? Absolutely, right? Maybe we have missed reaching out to you. We have set up a very large partner ecosystem there. We have at least about 10 partners who are actually working for us. We'll connect with you. So Bangladesh for us is a very, very important segment of what we are looking at as a future. And we are very invested in what we are doing. As a director for Mulesoft, I can assure you this is our priority. And we are already very engaged with a lot of customers. We will reach out to you as well, sir.
So just to add you one point. Recently we reached out directly to SalesForce. And SalesForce has had a feedback to us that considering current geopolitical issues, they're currently not interested in expanding in Bangladesh. I'm saying it in this forum that majority of Bangladeshi people
I know.
So we should be aware of this.
So just to let you know, sir, this roundtable was supposed to be there yesterday. And we put in a request saying we want to maximize our reach to the Bangladesh counterparts who are here. And so this got rescheduled today. So you should understand our interest in working with Bangladesh as well, right? So that's really a little bit of a context, and that's really the truth. We are very interested, very invested, and you can see all the support you need from us. We don't have an office, but that should not stop us from working. Yeah? Coming to the trends for a faster GTM, right? We have a number of ways we can address it, whether it's from your CRM perspective or even from just being faster to address. I'll give you a simple example, right? Today when we are seeing in India at least, I can give you my own personal example. Earlier insurance companies were only selling through insurance agents. We are all aware of that. Then came online portals. We said you can buy through it. Today there's a very nice way to sell insurance, quick, fast money, right? So I book a badminton court to play badminton. Kya hai? I mean, it's a 1 hour game that I'm playing, right? But in that, there is a little thing that cares. We are insuring you for health in case you fall down when you're playing badminton. Alright? So if I fall down, I have to pay 25 rupees when I'm booking 500 rupees. And it's automatic. It is a part of the option. I have to unselect it to say, I don't want the insurance, bye, I'll go play and come back. But that 25 rupees goes to the insurance company as an insurance. Now that's a faster GTM. If you don't do it, there is some other guy who's doing it today. And these are increasing your ways of getting revenue. If you're still going to think my bankers, my banking customers are going to come to my forum, they're coming to my bank and asking, no, you need to think where can I go to market? And that can only happen when you're integrated with that badminton app. You have to be integrated, you have to get the response, you have to get the revenue, all that integration has to happen, and that's where we come as faster. That's just a simple example. I told you from my own personal experience, but this is what we are seeing in every industry. You're doing a travel booking, 500 rupees booking. We'll also give you travel insurance. Who's giving the travel insurance? Some insurance guy who's been faster than the other insurance guy, right? And you've been able to integrate. I'm booking the ticket, I'm getting an insurance policy done. How is that done? Because you're integrated with him. You don't do it, you miss the market, right? So that is the faster GTM, and you got to integrate with many people now. Nobody can go to market saying, "Main apne agent se karunga." Those are the people who died. Those are the people who died. I don't know how many of you know the Indian, I'll take 1 more minute. A simple example, right? Tupperware in India used to be big. How were they selling? Households. All Tupperware party, household women were selling it. They got into online market in 2020. How late? Then they said we'll integrate with Amazon, we'll integrate with Flipkart. Too late. Amazon already had its alternative for Tupperware, which has captured the market. Nobody buys Tupperware now. So how fast you are, and for that you got to integrate. With multiple people, we can help you with all that.
So I want to add to that, right? And I think this is an example from one of the largest banks in India. And there are two aspects to what you said, right? You said faster go-to-market. How can, so I'll give you a practical example, right? And this bank, the challenge with the bank was that they wanted to completely revamp the way they were doing credit card issuance. It's a huge bank, and the volumes are like off the top. And so there are two aspects to it. One is you want to process those credit card applications fast. So you need to have a base application. The base application is where the SalesForce platform can actually help you build that. Low-code application tools, built it, and we actually built it. And I'll give you the timelines as well, so you'll get a sense of the entire thing. But the second aspect was that you not only have to have the self-contained applications, this application needs to speak to all the back-end credit card core systems or other core systems within the bank, right? So that was the second aspect. The third aspect was that they were also looking at opening new revenue models, like Google Pay. So when you open up Google Pay, can I apply through Google Pay for the credit card of that particular bank, right? Because you have a new revenue channel which is sort of opened up. So you need to enable that as well. How do you enable the entire thing? The core is set in terms of Salesforce application, but you need to have the peripherals also done. You need to establish the connectivity, and you need to make sure those APIs are actually available to Google Pay for it to consume that, for a card issuance, the entire journey out there, right? So you have digital journeys and you have a combination of digital and phygital journeys all coming together. And we were able to execute this entire thing with the Salesforce platform and the Mule platform to establish all the connectivity in a record time of less than 8 months. less than 8 months. And this is, we are talking about volumes like, you can well imagine, right? Like I'm talking about the largest bank in the country for that matter. So this is just an example of faster go-to-market. Another example which comes to mind is for a very large business in the country, which is part of Tata Group. And they had a launch for 9 different brands. And they wanted to actually launch them very, very fast in terms of e-commerce and join the journey which was happening physically and digitally, right? And they were actually able to create a set of base services and then reuse those services again and again. So the first one took time. All the other rest of those 9 brands, after the first one, the rest 8 brands were like a month. Every month they were launching a new brand in terms of that. So that's what we intend to do with our approach and the platform.
And from that omnichannel experience comes out, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Example, yes, we have given.
Absolutely.
See, there's another thing. I don't know. I'm sure many of you are in companies that have multiple businesses, right? You could have a jewelry business and athleisure business, for example. Your data in the jewelry business and your customers are siloed, and there's another division which is siloed. These two are not using both of them, but that you can unlock, saying somebody who is buying, 5,000 rupees worth of athleisure is a potential buyer to buy jewelry as well. Can I remarket internally? That you can automate as well. A lot of such options that are there. Right? Sorry, I want to open up to any other people who have. Yeah. Sorry.
My question is, I'm Bhaskar from KDS Group. We are more in the manufacturing, steel and apple.
Sure.
Hello. Okay. We are working with the US customers like Target and Walmart like that, and locally we are the second largest steel manufacturer in Bangladesh right now. So my question is from the tech front actually, like question number 4, relevance to the integration platform. Right now we are using Kubernetes as a API service or internally. I am facing a lot of issue with the scalability. So how Salesforce is going to help us on these areas? Second is, if you see the data, what I like most, one of the term you have used, like AI over API. This is superb thing. This is the next level should be with the co-pilots and all.
Yeah.
See, the next level, now one new buzzword in the market right now, the risk prediction. So all the API orchestration you have said about this, taking the data and managing. So how Salesforce is going to help us to generate the risk prediction model based on the API data being generated, so that when I'm taking an order, so I know that out of these order, this order runs under this risk level right now, because you have the data right now and the APIs are there continuously generating the data. So based on the data and the history, it should be able to tell me which risk level we are right now with this order and what are the precautions I should have taken and the predictions. So these are the 2 questions from tech front. And I just want to highlight one area. You talk about the connecting RPA bot over the legacy system. Can you just highlight on that area?
Sure.
Thank
I'll
you.
take all those 3 questions one by one. The first one was, how can we help you, right? How can Salesforce help you? I think there are multiple ways, and a minute will not be enough for me to talk about that. So we'll probably need more details. But few areas come to my mind very, very quickly. The first is that if you go and explore Salesforce, apart from the horizontal solutions, we have vertical solutions. A manufacturing cloud, which is very specifically built for manufacturing industry. That's one aspect. But what was very interesting was that you said that you are into manufacturing and you deal with the Targets of the world and all of these retailers.
Yes.
When you deal with these retailers, one important element I'm sure you would have seen is that they're very finicky on the electronic data interchange standards. So unless you follow the EDI standards and you have some sort of a solution, they will not work with you, right? They would actually expect you, or sort of in a very way, because they control and own the market for that matter, right? They will actually force you to use those standards, right? And we've seen that with a lot of customers in India, right, and abroad. So we have a set of solutions which is called as EDI standards. And so we can actually help you automate that entire B2B EDI process to really do supply chain optimization for you when you're dealing with the retailers out there, and even with the shippers for that matter. So that's the second way we could actually help you. The third question was around predictive, right? And predictive is where you will see that we have a set of solutions called as Tableau. And Tableau not only consumes the data, but also helps you in visualization. And that visualization is not only across a simple generic visualization for that matter, it can also be predictive for that matter, and you have multiple flavors which can actually help you. And in fact, we have our Tableau colleagues, so we can also connect them with you here.
We have been using Tableau because the reason I ask you these questions, like as I told you about the risk prediction model,
Sure.
we have created a lot of bots right now to take the reviews of the customers, like you say Target, Walmart, and Tesco's. These customers, these bots is generating the data of the reviews. Based on the reviews, they are giving the internal analytics. I mean, what is the? I mean, like for example, what customers thinking about this particular product, like sentimental analysis we are doing right now.
Okay.
The problem we are facing right now that the data is not actually perfectly coming to us. So do you have any some sorts of connectivity or some sorts of arrangement with these customers like Target, Walmart? So they have their shared their APIs with you guys, and from that we can take the data or something like that.
Okay. This is something which we will have to explore offline probably, because I don't have a ready answer for you, so I wouldn't want to hazard a guess out there. But we can definitely do that. We have our colleagues from Tableau as well here, and we can sort of work on that. I think there was one final question which you had around bots, right? And how do we look at bots, right? So we look at bots as an extension of the whole process automation bit. What do bots do for you? Bots basically help you to connect to legacy applications. These applications don't have any APIs. They don't have any connectivity model out there. So how do you actually get or read data from these applications? The idea is at least they have a screen. Right? So what you do is you write bots which can actually go and scrape the data off the screen based on intelligent coordinates out there, and doesn't always have to be pixels, right? There are actually DOM elements which can actually be utilized and pick up data from there and make it usable, right? So you have an RPA construct which is there. We are very happy to talk in detail about that, but those are there. I hope I was able to address your questions in the brief time we have.
The team, I do have one more question. Sorry, I'm bothering you again. So the thing is, regarding the open banking. So if, in Bangladesh, majority of the banks are having their legacy applications which are not ready for, offering that open API consumption or something like that. So what is your expert opinion in this regard? How we can proceed? How we can get matured to, accustomed with this current, this open banking thought process?
Sure. Yeah, I think we can help address part of the challenge for sure, right? While those APIs are not available, Mule as a platform enables two things for you. It helps you to establish that connectivity with those applications, but might be legacy, might be modern in that matter. But also I'll sort of take a step back. Based on my experience of 24 years in the Indian market and abroad, one of the challenges I see is not only core banking applications don't have the connectivity, but many times you don't want to open up the core banking application because you want to secure it, right? You want to make
I'm not talking about the core applications, the other applications.
The other applications.
Yes.
So it's going to be a combination of things, right? If you have an application which is absolutely closed and there is no way to speak with it, then you have some traditional mechanisms which are available, file-based integrations and all, which might or might not be conducive based on the requirements. And if not, then we'll have to make use of RPA bots. If the application which you have has at least some connectivity element which is available, then Mule can be used to establish a connector with that particular application, and the API management component can actually help you surface that as an open API. So it's going to be a process. It's going to be a little journey. There's no sort of a quick fix when it comes to legacy applications, but we'll have to look at the situation and then decide which is the approach we want to take.
Thank you.
Yep. I just want to also take a quick pause here and introduce we have Mr. Chinmoy Roy with us. He's from Bennett & Coleman. He heads the IT there. And I just wanted him to share his perspective as well, because he's an existing customer for us, and it's very good to have him here with us. Our pleasure to host you, sir. So if you would want to share your perspective of your journey with Mule and the value it brings, that'll be great.
Hey, hi. Good afternoon, all of you. So, it was the journey starts. See, we were a SalesForce customer for long now. Now we are in the 6th year of SalesForce implementation, and but we would like, or rather I would very much like to differentiate between SalesForce and Mulesoft. The way I look at Mulesoft is a different platform. It is an integration platform. I don't look at it as a Salesforce product and mix it up with the Salesforce, other applications of Salesforce. And that's the first thing. And the secondly, when we started our journey, yes, we started with a very small use case that let's have this integration between Salesforce and SAP. To start with, although all these capabilities which Harpreet talked about, we were well aware of them, but we never wanted to get into each one of them in the beginning. So we started only with the Salesforce and SAP integration, and it took less than a month for the whole integration to go live. That was the first point. I think I gave an example here, but it actually, I was also not very sure about that, how much time it is going to take, but it was less than a month when we went live. And then once that confidence came in, then we started exploring the other things, even the APIs and all the other use cases we have. The whole objective here is that we at Times of India are now going through a huge transformation as far as the application landscape goes. So ERP, which is a 25-year-old SAP shop with us, so and so many other legacy applications, production applications, so many other applications. So we are going through a huge transformation, and the decision at our end is that we need to have a single integration platform. Earlier, it was a headache for all of us, like SAP. If you want to do something, integrate something with SAP, use PI, PO. If you want API integrations, then you use a PJ. So various such tools were existing, and different people managing it, the cost of managing, the cost of licenses and everything. So this is the decision we took, that we will put everything in a single platform. And incidentally, we had tried out Mulesoft by then. So while we took our decision, it became very easy for us, and that's there in our architecture diagram, and it clearly says that the whenever you see such architecture diagram, you will always see at the bottom you have that integration layer. So that integration layer, we have only a single name called Mulesoft till now. Let's see what happens till the go live. So we are pretty confident that fine, we will be going ahead with Mulesoft. So actually the implementations, like the way Harpreet was talking about, maybe requires more time, I believe, to talk about it in detail. But the implementation time is something which is very, and the ease of implementation also is something. Whenever I talk to my team and they say, हाँ ठीक है, एक कोर दिला दो, आप 2 हफ्ते में कर देते हैं. So that's the confidence they have. So and that gives a big satisfaction to leaders like us, who needs to take decision based on the implementation time and most importantly cost. So cost is something, it's very easy to manage. Like I am sure if you get into the detail of it, Harpreet and other colleagues of Mulesoft, they can explain you different models which are there, the flexi models which are there. So that helps a lot. So whatever we want to use, we will use it. We are not here to pay you more for what we are not using. So that's another thing. So cost and go to market and the time to market are the two very important things. And a single integration layer, single integration platform. These are the 3 things based on which we took our decision, and we stand by our decision.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So I do have a question to Mr. Chinmay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, being a customer, as you said that there were some fragmented things in your organization, and you were trying to bring all those in a single platform integrated. So, what sort of challenges, as the socio-economic is all condition of Bangladesh and India are more or less the same or something like that. So, what are the challenges that you faced while bringing all those fragmented things in the integrated platform?
Yeah, so you see, first of all, nothing to do with socio-economic situation in any of these countries. It is
Why I'm saying so? Because SalesForce seems to be a bit costly.
okay, I will reserve my comments on that because there are so many products of Salesforce. Obviously, few of them are very expensive, and we use Sales Cloud, we use Partner Clouds, we use Service Cloud, and we have been using for the last 6 years. And you meet me separately, I can tell you that how you can keep a control on the cost of those clouds.
All the secrets.
Definitely, I will get in touch with
so
you.
that I can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So okay, and but yes, so but when we talk about Mulesoft, as I told in the very beginning, I treat it totally different from the Salesforce clouds. This is a separate. This is an integration platform for me, Mulesoft. Mulesoft was bought by Salesforce, and Salesforce is selling it, is fine, but I treat it separately, and their offerings are totally different from what the other clouds are. That's the difference.
Thank you.
You can talk to me, sir. No problem.
Thanks.
All cost you talk to me.
Thanks, Chinmay. Thank you so much.
Just a
Yeah.
quick one. Do you want to share your experience in terms of the timeline? You've obviously spoken about the time that Mule took, but what was it that was earlier taken by your team for the same work that is currently being done?
So like the question on challenges, those were the challenges. Like for any integration, you you can say maybe not the right term, but it was a headache for us, or especially with SAP PI in between. So two teams getting engaged, that is another big thing. SAP team, PI team, and then our Salesforce teams. So now, so three, and then you have the architects coming in. So it was a mess which was created around it. Now you have a single person doing the whole thing. So you don't need people from all the technologies to meet and all. So you need a Mulesoft person who is actually, in our case, he is the person who handles Salesforce as well. So I have given him the responsibility of Mulesoft as well. So he is the only person who handles everything. So that's another thing which becomes or gets simplified once you move on to this.
And if I might just add, in the next few months, we're planning a whole host of training sessions in Bangladesh, so that your tech people can also get trained on it. Maybe we can start with some basics, and then if you all feel there is an interest, we can always look at advanced coaching on Mulesoft and so on and so forth. Yeah, that is something that we are already planned. We're just waiting for you to let us in, and then we'll come, sir. Okay, all right. I just have a.
You can arrange in the year also, online also, no problem.
We can, yes, absolutely. For now, we can possibly start doing that, and then we'll do workshops on that, right? A quick question, sorry, I want to touch upon this ERP part. How many of you are on SAP? Do we have anybody who's on SAP today? Migration ho gaya? Hana? Yes, no, part, no? Okay. Harpreet can take a minute to explain how Mulesoft can help you in that migration. We have some fantastic use cases. We'll of course send them to you. We have some of your cards, we'll send them out to you. It's a very simple video. It is what we have done for anybody who's going through the transformation. I know the transformation is a big headache for everybody. It's a thing that many CIOs don't want to look at, but they are forced to look at now, and we can help you with that. Sorry, you have a question?
No, Rita. So, see, you are showing the tutor with SAP, ERP.
Yes.
There is some, you have to also work on EBS, e-business suite.
Yes.
E-business
yes.
suite.
Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So there are also some customers in our country. They also need to, in the integration point of view, other things who can migrate or who can integrate with this SalesForce if they want to
Sure.
in this platform.
So,
There is another point, sorry, what is the big concern as I am working with you, maybe a Salesforce CRM. So after coming to the end point, what is the headache in our country is the cost. So I have seen that some cost, which is you are giving a more discount also, but if you want to raise the market in Bangladesh, so you have to be concerned about the budget and cost. So I think this is the big issue for us to decide we'll go for it or not.
I'll take the cost part first. Seems to be top of mind.
I was just going to say the good part of my role is because I'm a solution engineering. So I was just saying.
Okay, I do want to tell you this, right? It is a concern that has come to our product teams as well, worldwide. It is not just Bangladesh, India concern. Trust me, in India also, the same challenge that we are facing all the time, right? It is something that had been bubbled up to the worldwide teams a while ago. And we now have multiple flexible pricing models for you to choose from, right? It is not like earlier where you have an enterprise-wide pricing that is given to you. You can start small. I don't even want to tell you how small you can start, right? You can start with a single project, see how that works, expand it to more. Integration is not a one-time fix. It's not a big bang project that you can take. It's not recommended also from us anymore. So what we recommend is we start picking it in phases and we work out a phase-wise thing, and we are happy to work with you. We have a lot of different pricing models now. We can definitely work on that, don't worry. It's a concern that has been bubbled up and we've already addressed that. We just haven't reached that price. Yeah, deployment can be anywhere, right? You want it on-prem, perfectly fine. You want it on your cloud, you are AWS, Azure, Google, we are okay to deploy it. You have a hybrid model, you can do it. You want it completely on your data center, private data center, that's fine. So that's the flexibility we have. See, if you look at the history of Mulesoft, what was Mulesoft? Before Salesforce acquired it, it was an independent company. It didn't come with the lens of an SAP building an integration which had SAP integration to somebody else. Didn't come with an Oracle integration which said, Oracle should integrate with everything. Mulesoft was an independent company that said, I want to integrate everybody. Anybody who wants to integrate anything, I want to integrate. So it was built on that foundation. And so when Salesforce acquired it, it's only got more and more polished and more enhanced. But the flexibility to do it anywhere, connect anything, is what is the main part of Mulesoft. I know Bangladesh presence is a concern. Trust me, we are there every other week. Either Ajmal is there or Salil, who's, I don't know why Salil is not there, but Salil, who's representing Salesforce in Bangladesh is there. We also have a whole lot of partners. We will, of course, do the training sessions for you all as well. We'll intimate you all of that, right? Definitely, don't worry about the Bangladesh presence. Pricing, I'm here. Okay, all right. Any other question? Sorry. I know we all want to head to lunch, but maybe one or two more if you want, or we are good to... You all will get our contact numbers. So
I just want to answer his question around connectors, right? You said e-business, right? So we've not explained in detail about the Mule capabilities, but Mule comes with around 300 connectors. That includes not only SAP, S/4HANA connector, ECC connector, it also includes NetSuite, Oracle, those are just some of the other systems. And then there are a lot of technology connectors. You want to connect with Azures, or you want to connect with the AWSs or GCPs of the world, or generic technology connectors like HTTPs. You have 300 plus connectors which are already there. So drag and drop and good to go.
Okay. Any other important question?
Is it possible to have this pack
Yes.
that you have presented today?
Can we?
I guess we can.
Possible?
We can send it.
Okay, please.
Done.
Right, thank
Okay,
you.
sir.
One more thing, actually. You wanted to display something. Video clip or something you wanted to...
वो नहीं वो 5 मिनट का है. I'll send it to all of you, right? Especially people who are looking at SAP. This is something that we have as a video that's available online. I can share it with you. How well it managed the SAP migration is what is highlighted there. of course, with Mulesoft.
In fact, there is a webinar which is also happening with which is Roche is a global user of SAP, and they're also a global user of Mulesoft. So how that migration happened using Mulesoft. So we can also share those details with you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you for the interactive sessions. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone.
And we are also there. We have a Salesforce booth in the expo area. So if you want to continue the conversation, you can meet us all there.
And there is a little keynote. And in the evening, there is at 5:30, there is a little keynote on agents, Agent Force, and how Mule plays a role as part of agents for what we're calling as actionable AI. So if you are here, please do come. Thanks.
Based on the requirement, they can contact individually any of your representative. Okay, because you have someone.
Thank you all for being here. I just wanted to say that we have a small token of appreciation from both Salesforce and ABP. On your way out, please make sure to collect it, and we will be sticking a small sticker on your ID to keep a record of your attendance for this briefing session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.